Hey everyone, hello beautiful ladies. Hi, I am so happy to have you here today. I am so happy to have all of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to episode 8 of the Shireen's Anyway series. As you can see, I have my camera facing a different direction this time, and I'm also using a different mic. So I hope you enjoy the sound. I hope you enjoy these changes that I'm making, all for your satisfaction. Yeah. So today we're talking about. By the way, I'm looking down here. My notes are on my lap today. hmm So today's episode is called "The Real Reason You Can't Stay Consistent." The real reason. Okay, this is much better. Okay, let's keep this here. So today's episode is called "The Real Reason You Can't Stay Consistent," and it's not what you think. So imagine the woman. You start something, you stop. You start things and you just can't complete them. You feel like you're constantly in an infinite loop. By the way, I need to get my notes. So 1 second, I want to turn on my camera real quick. Be right back. Where are those notes? Sorry for that background noise and sorry for the messiness. Sorry for the inconvenience. I just had to go get my notebook. So I find that when I record and I have a notebook just to write down some thoughts that cross my mind, it helps me, and I like to have that. So I have my pen and paper right here. So the woman who starts and stops, the woman who seems to be in a loop of constantly starting things and constantly feeling disappointed because she's not able to finish those things, despite her best desires, despite her wanting to do those things so much. This is the identity shift you never saw coming. If you're ready to shift your identity, if you're ready to shift your identity, yes. Stay tuned for today's episode because you're going to love it. Okay. So let me guess. You start with fire. You swear this time you're going to do it. This time I'm going to lose the weight. I swear. This time I'm going to do intermittent fasting. This time I'm going to start a business. This time I'm going to save $10,000. Whatever goal you may have, this is the time. You plan, you pose, you pour. And suddenly you lose the motivation. You might even have a spur where you just like do it and then you just drop it and you're like, wait, I had this flow for like a week. I was just going for 1 week. I was not eating junk for 1 week. I was brainstorming on the business ideas. I was doing the research. I was creating a course, and then the following week 2, crickets. You can't get yourself to do it. You have lack of motivation. You just can't move forward. You disappear. You like watch yourself retreat, and then the shame comes in. Back to the shame again. What is wrong with you? Why do you make plans and give up? Why are you always doing this? Why are you like this? You start to beat yourself up. You start to become so harsh and hard on yourself. What if I told you that it was never about motivation? It was never about motivation. And if you want, yesterday's episode, I spoke about burnout, how burnout is actually your breakthrough. And I'm gonna link the link of that video in the description box. But you can also just go on my live and you can just watch the one before this one. Okay. So when I spoke about burnout versus breakthrough, and I told you that when you're having a burnout and then you're lacking the motivation, and you think something is wrong with you, you're actually this close to your breakthrough. Because the identity, like your next level, is almost there, but then the old self is resisting that change. The old self is resisting you becoming a better version of yourself. Yeah. What if I told you that it was never about motivation? It was never about the motivation. It wasn't about discipline either. Because you might be sitting here thinking, oh, yo, man, I like discipline. I want to be disciplined. And every single day on YouTube, you're watching discipline videos. You're the discipline You consume so much productivity content. Every single day you're consuming that content. Every single day you're watching new videos on discipline and productivity, on how to beat laziness. You watch those videos, you consume those videos with all of the best, best intentions, and still you have the same results. You have the same result. So it's not discipline either. It's all about identity. Write it down. It's all about identity. This episode This episode is the one I wish I had to years ago when I myself too was watching the productivity content, trying to thinking something was wrong with me, feeling so weird. Like, what is wrong with me? Why do I keep making the same mistakes? By the way, I have an episode here on YouTube, which is, I think, if you keep making the same mistakes, watch this. I break that down too. Check it out here on YouTube. I wish I had someone talk to me like this. Okay. So when you start, like when you have that start-stop cycle, that go-no-go cycle, it's not a discipline issue. You think it's discipline. You think something is wrong with you. You think you like discipline. You think you like organization. It's not discipline. It's because part of you doesn't want to do it. Part of you is fed up. Part of you is tired of this routine. And it's actually a deep, and the deeper meaning there is like, a part of you is trying to ring the alarm. A part of you is telling you, hey, we can't continue like this. It's telling you something needs to change. It's telling you something really has to change. Because the way you're going about this thing is not working. Or maybe a part of you is not convinced as of like your intentions for the reason why you're doing what you're doing. You don't need more planners. You don't need a new calendar app because all those apps, you're going to do them, get the apps, and then you're going to still have the same results. You're still going to gain weight. You're not going to, I'm trying to stretch my legs. You're still going to gain weight. You're not going to lose the 10 pounds. You're not going to start the business. You're not going to finish the project. You're not going to do, because it's not about productivity. It's not about discipline. The apps are not going to help you. The accountability partners are not going to help you. You think, oh, let me just find a person to motivate me. And then maybe it would work for a little bit and then it stops working. And then you go back to blaming yourself, shaming yourself. What is wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? Why am I in this loop? Why am I so lazy? All of those things, those are all lies. Those are all lies. Those are not the real you. By the way, if you really want to unlearn the lies, you want to look at the lies, some of the biggest lies that I believe plague us as women, and that really stop us from reigning as the empress we're born to be. I have this empress code, empress coronation, or crown codes, where it's an elevated journey. Each day you get a lie, so it exposes the lies to you. And what that does, why it's so important is because you can't fix a problem if you don't even know what the issue is. So I have mentioned this before in my podcast, but I have a bit of a stutter. And if you're listening, you can tell I have a bit of a stutter. I am intentional about calming myself down, about being calm, so I can speak more like slowly with more intention. But sometimes it comes out, but we're working on it. So if I don't know that I have a stutter, how can I become better at my speech? You can only solve a problem or become better at something when you're aware of the situation. So if you're not aware of the lies, the programming that in your mind, how are you going to get better? So I had this crown code, 11 days, where you unlearn the lie. Like you look at the lie in the face and you realize this whole time, this was never me. You realize that the whole time, this was never me. And I can't tell you the way that will be like so soothing. Because for once you stop shaming yourself. And then in there that you also have empress moves on things you can start doing, taking action to get you to take a step into the better version of yourself, the version of yourself you want to craft. Because you craft your next version. No one does. No one can save you except for you. So check it out. Link in the link down below. Check it out. You don't need more apps. What you need is to understand who you've been every time you try to be consistent. So every time you try a new diet, every time you go back to school, every time you start a business, and then you start maybe fired up the first 2 days, and then the same thing happens. You lose motivation, and then you give up, and then you just like quit everything. You run away. You don't do it anymore. And that is how something else you started ends up being abandoned. Instead of trying to become so motivated and watching, I'm stretching my legs, sorry guys, sorry girls. Instead of trying to understand, oh, I need to buy this app, I need to do this, I need to do this thing, you need to understand who you were being in those moments. What part of you was in charge when you were quitting, when you were taking the action to even start those projects? What part of you was in charge? Who were you when you were trying to be consistent? Who were you in those moments? Because a survival self cannot sustain a sovereign vision. Write it down. A survival self cannot sustain a sovereign vision. Which means that no matter how much you want to try to sustain the vision, the survival self, that part of you that's not the real you, it cannot maintain the level of discipline, the level of energy, the level of like what it takes to get to that level. It doesn't have the capacity. It can't do it. It can't do it. It's almost like you want to carry. Let's find an example. You want to fetch water with a basket. You're going to the stream, and someone will ask you, "Hey, Joanne, where are you going?" "I'm going to the stream." "To do what? To fetch water." "So where is your pot?" "Oh no, I don't do pots. I do baskets." That's how you sound. Because the basket might look like a container, but it has holes all over it. You're going to fetch the water will just go everywhere. You won't be able to hold the water that you're getting. Because a sovereign self cannot sustain a survival self cannot sustain a sovereign vision. The reason why you kept quitting was not because you lacked desire. It was because you were so scared of being seen. You were literally terrified of being seen. You were afraid of how people will perceive the real you. That is why you kept masking and allowing this other part of you to take control, to take charge. And then you wonder why you're not able to sustain the effort, sustain what it takes for you to get to where you need to be. The overfunctioning achiever part is doing the heavy lifting. And sometimes that part of you that's doing the heavy lifting, that part of you that the performer, the one that wears the mask, that tries to be the perfect person, that is the person that decides, oh, we're going to finish this thing. Meanwhile, all the other parts of you are not on board with this thing. All your other parts are not on board with that decision. And the overachiever is like, we're gonna get this thing done, we're gonna lose 20 pounds. Well, you still have things you need to figure out within yourself. You still have to come and return to certain parts of yourself. By the way, if you want to return to the parts of yourself that you've abandoned so you can wear your crown, I have this thing called crown activation, link down below, where it teaches you how to do that, because I believe that an empress is a person who is not afraid to return. It's a person who returns over and over again. She's not afraid to look back so she can move forward, so she can be better and make better decisions for her life. When that overfunctioning part of you is the one that makes a decision, that overfunctioning part of you, when that part is the part that makes I stutter. When that part is the part that makes the decision, it can't be sustained long term. Because even your motivation, your intention for wanting that desire, let's say lose 10 pounds, let's say finish school, it's not pure. It's coming entirely from you doing that so you can prove something to the world. You can prove that you're smart. You can prove that you're worthy. Let's say everyone around you is getting married, and now that part of you wants to not just go and just get married to anybody. Even though the other parts of you are not aligned with that decision, you're going to make mistakes. Because that part is not making that decision, not from a place of your well-being, not from wanting to do something that is really good for you, but from wanting to be seen a certain way, from wanting to have a certain attention, for validation. And I have said before that do not seek validation. Validation is when you seek things outside of you. Confirmation is what you get from God. Seek confirmation from God and focus on that and just keep it pushing. So when you keep doing those things, you keep making decisions and you're not able to follow through, you do this, you're not able to lose the weight, you're not able to meet your goals. That's because the overfunctioning part of you is in the forefront. she's carrying that boat. She's moving forward, and the other parts of you are not aligned to that decision yet. And then the real you is like, stop. It's stop. It's like, stop. We can't continue like this. Like it's calling you to actually reflect. It's calling you to reflect and to find a better way of being. To reflect and to find a better way of being. To find a better way of doing this. Why the false self can't finish? Every time you start from pressure, like I told you how your intention for starting will determine how far you go. Write it down. Write it down. Your intention for starting will determine how far you go. Your intention for starting will determine how far you go. Okay? Every time you start from pressure, shame, proving, trying to prove something to others, you activate the wrong part of you. And when that happens, the other parts of you, like the real you, begins to rebel. And now you feel like you're constantly in this like war with yourself. Part of you wants to lose weight, part of you wants to eat 10 burgers a day with ice cream. And then it's like you're constantly having to do this. And the reason why you have so much, how do I even say this? So much duality, so much like this, the reason why you have this feud, let's call it feud within yourself, is because the decision was made with the intention of proving something to people. The decision was made with the intention of showing something, of showing off, of showing yourself, of making yourself, of you thinking that if only you get this thing, now you're worthy. When you're in this space where you think, if only I get this thing, if only I do this thing, now I'm worthy. And then from that space, from that yucky energy, you make a decision to lose weight, to finish school, to do something. You're not gonna finish it. Which means that every decision, God, which means that every decision you have made that have led to the same loop of you're not able to complete it, you're not able to follow through. It's because your intentions were not in the right place. So now you know how to solve the problem. Like go back and journal about it and meditate on it. And ask yourself, these things, let's say losing weight, finishing school, let's say starting a business, let's say growing your hair and then having like a very intricate haircare process, whatever it may be. What was your intention for doing it? Was your intention to grow hair so that you could show off? Or was your intention to grow hair because you wanted to have long hair because you enjoyed it? Because you wanted to feel what it felt like to take care of yourself to that level? Those are two different intentions. And those two intentions will dictate the journey and also dictate how you make it, or even when you make it, to your so-called destination, to your so-called goal. The false you, the fake part of you, is excellent. That part of you is an expert in starting with force. Every time you start something and you notice that you're blaming yourself, you're like, oh my God, my friend has lost 30 pounds. Here I am, I've gained 40. Or I must do this. I can't be the only one who's fat. I can't be the only one who is. When you're in that energy, the false self has taken over. The part of you that is not the real you, that false self has taken over. And when you want to start with force, like you don't care what happens, you don't care about yourself, but you just have to do this thing right now, not with love. You know that you're starting with the false self. And starting from that place is guaranteed self-sabotage at some point. Maybe even you make your goal, maybe even you lose the 40 pounds. But then how will you feel afterwards? Even when you lose that 40 pounds and you get to that ideal weight of yours, you will still most likely experience misery. You will still most likely experience depression, experience the same emotions you're experiencing now. When you get that weight on the scale, you'll feel really happy, and then you're going to go back to the default emotions you're experiencing. You're going to go back to all your default emotions, all your default limitations. You're going to go back to them, which means that doing something with force is not long term. So if you're a person that you reach a point where you're like, yo man, I can't force myself anymore. Yo man, I used to be able to push myself. Yesterday I spoke about that too. Go check it out. Yo man, I used to be able to be a girl that could just push myself and just get it done. It's because your psyche, your body wants to protect you. Your body is like, I don't want you to get to that point, and I feel like everything was for nothing. And I feel like, like I don't want you to get to that point before you learn the lesson. It wants you to learn the lesson now, to realize that you have to have the right intention before you make a decision, before you start a project. So it means that like the real you is so smart and so compassionate. God is so smart and so compassionate. God is doing this so that when you get to your destination, you can experience all the joy and you can embrace the whole experience, because you're no longer going to think that that destination will make you happy, that the validation they might give you when you get to the peak of the mountain, when you get to the top of the mountain, will add something to you. You understand that that doesn't add nothing to you. Nothing. Because why? You made the decision with a certain type of intention. The intention may be to lose weight, to love yourself, to go deeper to God, to go closer to God. The version of you that hustles for love, she can't carry the crown you're going to have. She can't follow you to your next level. The version of you that performed, that pretended to be okay, that faked it, that was grinding through things, she can't carry your next crown. You have to let her go. You have to return, observe, and then you have to let her go. Because she can't move forward with you. To be consistent literally requires safety. If you don't feel safe in your body, it'll be really hard for you to stay consistent. And you can fake it, you can grind your way through it. But some of us, you get to a point where the grinding is not even grinding. Like your body is done. But it's like, no more. We can't give this up anymore. So if you're feeling this way now, it's the perfect moment for you to start this work. For you to know that, how do I feel safe right now? Like feeling safe in my body, doing my inner work, praying, meditating, is a better strategy than all of the how do you call it? All of the advice, all the productivity advice, all the productivity books. Okay, I had this 3-step process which is called return, seal, and then reign. Like reign as in crown, as in a queen reigns. That 3-step process in the course called Crown Activation, link below, where you pretty much learn to make every part of you your ally. And what happens is that when you do that, you no longer have to try to fight yourself, try to get parts of you on board, because now you're doing the work every single day, and it's very simple to do. You can do it every single day, couple of minutes, but it will literally help you to reprogram the part of you that feels ashamed, the part of you that feels scared, the part of you that feels you can't do it, to start to think that actually you can do it. So that's down below. Check it out if you feel like it's something that will help you on your journey. Do check it out. Your nervous system needs to feel safe to feel like you're going to be successful. Like if you don't feel safe, it'll be really hard for you to believe you can be successful. It'll be really hard for you to believe that you can actually achieve all your dreams. So feeling safe is the most important thing. Right now as we speak, do you feel safe? Right now as we speak, do you feel safe? Do you feel safe with the choices you've made? The decisions you've made to do? Do you feel safe in those decisions? That's something you should question, and you should really like journal about and really think about, because it's so important. If you don't feel safe in that decision, chances are you're going to end up not being consistent. And when you're not consistent, you're going to end up in the same loop of what is wrong with me? Why do I keep doing these things? Why am I like this? Everything. You have to believe it's safe for you to make that change. You have to believe that you can do it. And most of you would think, oh, so I have to fix myself now. Which book do I buy to fix myself? It's not about fixing yourself. No. It's about shedding the parts of you that no longer serve you. letting it go. Just taking the crown coat, the 11-day coronation link below. It's called Crown Coat. It's a free 11-day journey where you literally shed and you begin to remember the crown. And then if you want to go deeper, you're going to crown activation where you literally begin to wear the crown. You do the work where you return to the full self. You just naturally shed it. And then you crown yourself and then you just take action. Okay? So in Romans 12 verse 2, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The renewing of what? Your mind. So if you want to change, you have to change your mind. You have to try to change your mind is never enough. You have to transform your mind. So what do you watch? What do you listen to? What do you eat? Because those tiny micro decisions will have a huge impact on you, on your life. Consistency is not a strategy. Consistency, I'm just struggling to say the most simplest word today. Consistency is not a strategy. Consistency is an identity. Consistency is an identity, which means that you don't try to become you don't try to do tricks to be consistent. You become the person that's naturally consistent by unlearning, by shedding the old, by feeling safe in your decisions. Okay, and like I said, I have a crown coat, 11 days. It's free. Take it and begin to unlearn. Begin to become the person a bit more every single day, the person who stays consistent in what you want to do and who does it with joy, with ease, with fun. Because you deserve it. Invest in yourself. If you're here, I believe it's because you want to be better. You want a better life for yourself. You want more for yourself. And that is why you're here. You're here for that. So I'm looking at my notes right now. Yeah. So I wanted to decide today, all of you, that you will no longer try to be consistent. You no longer try to do the right thing, try to fix yourself. You become someone who shows up because it's who she is. You make showing up your entire identity. You become the person who does that. So I want to do a little activity with you right now. I want to turn off my camera while I do it with you. So why do I do that? Okay, right here. So ask yourself, what version of me is trying to lead today? What version of me is trying to lead today? Ask yourself that question. And if you feel that it's a part of you that is very scared, then bless that version and have so much gratitude. Don't shame yourself. And then ask yourself, what would the real me choose? Like the real me, the I, like the self, not the false self, not the part of me that is like not that sinful nature, the real me. What would she want to do right now? Would she want to go for a walk? Would she want to start doing research on my new business? Ask yourself that question. Okay. I myself have experienced this thing. Consistency is something that I struggle with so much, and even to this day, I gave myself this challenge that I'm sure you know about, where I'll be creating 600 pieces of content in 200 days, because and I'm not doing it from a place of stress. I'm doing it from ease because I'm no longer trying to fix myself. I'm no longer trying to be consistent. I'm becoming the person who does these things effortlessly. And also this 3-step process that I've created, which is in my course called Crown Activation, can really help you do that. Because when you do that, you realize that the parts of you that felt like they were against you, they begin to work. They begin to literally cheer you on. It's almost like, instead of having, you know how like when you're in your mind, what am I saying? When you have negative thoughts and it feels like those parts of you are against you. It feels like you have like little enemies in your head trying to get you to not lose the weight, not meet your goals. But when you do these exercises that I have in that course, those parts of you become your friends, and it feels like you have cheerleaders in your head, literally like cheering you on. I mean, who doesn't want that? That sounds fun to me. So I myself, it took me 5 years to start my podcast. 5 years, because I was afraid. I was thinking, how would they see me? And even when I started, I wasn't consistent because I felt like, oh my god, I have this stutter. Because I have a little bit of a stutter, but who cares? I have this stutter, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be judged. I'm gonna just go there and embarrass myself. And who wants that? Nobody wants to be embarrassed, okay? And I started posting on Spotify, and I wasn't consistent because this fear kept dragging me down. Or how would they see me? And then I just, started posting a bit more. And then this year, I decided I'll post every week. I've missed a couple of weeks this year, but that's much better than before. And now I'm doing this challenge. I think for the past, today is day 3 of the challenge. I've gone live consistently for the past 3 days, technically 4, but the challenge started 3 days ago. So let's just say 3 days, okay? And here I am doing it. I'm the same person who was afraid of starting a podcast for 5 years, who had a bunch of ruminating thoughts in her head about what could go wrong, which means that you can literally sit down, you can write a book on everything that will go wrong in your life, or you can sit down and decide that you're going to become the person who no longer has those problems. You're going to decide that you're going to become the person who no longer struggles with the things that you're struggling with right now, because really, like, the choice is yours. The choice is really yours. Are you going to choose to believe that you have to struggle? Are you going to just believe that there are solutions out there for you? It doesn't have to be hard, but you do have to make a decision. You do have to be intentional about it. And I do have that free crown codes, 11 days coronation, that you can start with. The link is down below. You can click that and you can start your journey. If you feel like, you want to work with me, and that's literally free. If not, I hope you find your thing, but I'm sure that I keep saying that if you're here, it's because you want to be better. You want to do better. You want to live your best life, right? I don't think you're going to search or click on this kind of videos or click on these kinds of videos just for fun. I think you want better for yourself. We all do. So get it, The most important thing here is that you have to stop shaming yourself for being inconsistent, because shame is like the worst thing. Shame is like the worst emotion you can feel. Believe it or not, some people feel like, oh my gosh, anger is better, but no, shame is worse than anger. At least anger can even get you to move and do something. My neighbor is like starting his car. I'm so sorry. If you want to be consistent, you have to divorce shame. Like, you have to let go of shame. You have to kind of like no longer be afraid of looking stupid, because ultimately people that change the world are the ones that are no longer afraid to look stupid. Like, they've evolved above that. They feel stupid. They're like, you know what? If I feel stupid right now, I'm going to find a way to get paid. I'm going to find a way to create a business. I'm going to find a way to help people. I'm going to find a way to share, even though I look stupid. And right now, do I feel like the best person in the world? No, I don't. But I'm still here. Do I feel perfect? No. All throughout this video, this live, I have stuttered. I have lost my lines, but I'm still here, because that's the whole point of this series. You have to understand that your mistakes don't define you. Your mistakes are what can propel you into the future. So I want you to understand that being consistent is not something that you have to do. It's something that you have to become. Like, you have to change the way you see yourself, and you have to be kind to yourself. So this thing came to my mind, and I was like, every time something happens, you make a mistake, and then you choose to be mean to yourself. You choose to say, oh my god, you're eating that. Oh my god, like you're having one more donut. Oh my god, you're doing all of these things. I feel like that takes you 10 steps back. So if you want to go 10 steps back in any area of your life, let's say it's business, school, losing weight, whatever it is for you, if you want to go 10 steps back and not be consistent, blame yourself and shame yourself. That's it. That's the whole essence of this life. If you want to go backward, shame yourself. If you want to go forward, you can feel cringy. Like, right now, do I feel like I'm super cool? I mean, maybe you think I am. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't feel that way. But I call it my crown cringe. Even if I feel cringy, I want to remember that I'm an empress, even in my cringiness. I want to remember that, and I'm going to keep it pushing. Okay, because ultimately, when you shame yourself, like I say, you take 10 steps back. When you decide that even though I feel awkward, I'm going to love myself the way my creator loves me, you take 10 steps forward. Now imagine that you do this for 10 years. The person who was shaming themselves for 10 years and the person who was just having that mindset of, I'm going to just go ahead and just like be kind to myself despite how cringy I feel. I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to become the person who does this. I'm going to take the crown codes your man is offering for free down below so I can start to recognize the lies and I can start to see I can start to unlearn the false things that I believe about myself and I can start to become better, right? It's all a decision. The person who makes that choice to shame themselves for 10 years, the person who makes the choice to just like not shame themselves, to accept their cringiness and to just move forward anyways, in 10 years' time, they're going to live completely different lifetimes. Even me here, I'm sure 10 years from now, I'll watch these videos and think, girl, this is so embarrassing. I might laugh at it, but think about it. When I'm gone, when I'm no longer here on this earth, and my descendants can watch these videos and think, wow, my great grandma was really cool. She felt so awkward, and yet she was so creating, she was so sharing, she was so living her purpose. And so it shows that even if I'm scared, I can still do the thing. I don't have to let that stop me. So don't feel bad. Look at the big picture in anything that you want to do. That's what helps me. So I think we've reached the end of this video. I think changing the angle made me a bit anxious. I'm not going to lie. I think that there were people coming in and out of the live. That was interesting. Usually when I go live, I'm by myself. I don't know who is watching right now, but thank you for being here. So having someone here and watching me, again, I'm being very vulnerable right now. That was a bit awkward for me because I'm used to just having 0 views and I just do my thing and people watch it after I'm no longer here. But experiencing these people coming in and coming out, that triggered me a little bit. But next time if it happens, I'm sure I'll be much better. Which is the whole point because I'm doing this every single day now. So just imagine how much better I'll be in just 1 month, in just 2 months. I'll be so much better. So I think that'll be all for today. Yeah, don't forget to download Crown Codes. Oh my god, actually, I forgot. There's this thing I've been doing, which is I read a part of the Crown Codes. I've been reading the lies. Because the whole point is that, even today I told you, when you're aware of the lies that are holding you back, you can stop believing those false things about yourself. So today we're doing reading the life from day 3, which is the ebook Crown Codes. If no one responds, I must not be resonating. Okay, so if you're creating something and nobody is clapping for you, nobody is saying, oh my god, yay, you're so great. You think you're doing something wrong, but you're not, right? So you have to really divorce the idea that if you're not being praised, you're doing something wrong. You have to focus on just confirmation, and the confirmation comes from God. That is it. I see I'm back alone right now. The person that was here has left the chat, has left the live, and that's okay. If no one responds, it doesn't mean you're not resonating. It just means that you have to ground yourself to your confirmation, and the confirmation comes from God. God confirmed you. So that'll be all for today. Let me know what you thought about this live. I'm sure the sound was much better. I brought the whole mic. I brought the whole mic today. I was like, no. We're doing this better. Because I got so tired of having the sound be good on one day and not so good on the other day. So we have that today. I'm going to go ahead and read the crown code from this day from day 3. My silence is not emptiness. It is evidence I am not waiting to be heard. I am being written into eternity. That's the crown to remember for day 3. So tomorrow I'm going to be here again. And I know I'll be better. So I hope you learned something from today's episode though on staying consistent. Don't try to be consistent. Become the person who is naturally consistent. Implement it into your life. Make it easy for you by knowing that if you don't feel safe about the decision, if you don't feel safe about the decision, it'll be very hard for you to be consistent with that decision. Because you're constantly going to sabotage yourself. Because when you don't feel safe and when you try to force it, the thing making that decision is the false self. It's not the real you. It's not the real you. We have many parts. It's the false self. The real you will make a decision feeling like, even if you're scared, because the way you can make a decision and you're feeling scared, but at least you will not feel forced. You will not feel that. I think you can tell. You will not feel that sense that you're like forced to do it. You'll be like, I really want to do this thing, but I'm scared. That's how you know it's the real self wanting to do that thing. So really journal about everything we spoke about today. Journal, 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 and know that you have what it takes to do everything you want, anything you want to do. Here I am, a girl who has a stutter, who is out here on YouTube being herself and making the world a better place one day at a time. You can do it too. You can do it too. I will see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Bye. Love you. Mwah.